And welcome back to the Weekly Tech Rant with me, Jay.
And me, Karl.
Episode 250. Look at us. It's a bit like the US. You know, they're celebrating 250 years, aren't they? In July the 4th, you know?
They've been around a little longer than us, but not as long as other people.
Just specifics. I said 250. I didn't say 250 years. I said 250. But unlike Trump, we will not be making this episode all about ourselves.
No.
Well, welcome back there. We have got a mixed bag of stories this week, haven't we? We are, 3 days away from WWDC?
We are?
And breaking news on my front, I am not going to be able to make WWDC live keynote session.
Are you not again?
No, I was politely reminded.
You said you were.
Well, I thought I was until I was politely reminded by other internal home leadership that I have to attend something for one of my children at 6:00. So I will not be. But,
okay, I will send you the live updates again then.
Live updates, and I'll watch it on demand, as it were. Anyway, so
Yes.
We're talking of Apple. We're going to talk about Apple Music and potentially some new subscription tiers that could be coming soon to a device near you. Anthropic is going to go public. They have now filed all their paperwork with the SEC, and we'll talk you all through those key bits of information. Nvidia, well, if you've been watching the news, anything about tech, you'll know that Nvidia have decided to bring the power of Spark to Windows PCs. And, well, you know, is this going to be the next generation of powerful machines that you can carry around in your bag? Who knows? But we'll cover all that too. AMD, maybe not some new devices, so to speak, but they are extending, I would say, existing capabilities, aren't they, for another few years? Particularly with their socket AM5. And the rumor mill, we have got a couple of stories, unsurprisingly, on Apple around the iPhone Ultra and the potential new MacBook Ultra as well. But more on that at the end. So, Karl, you told me in the preamble before we were getting started.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
Now, what have we been waiting for a while? Can you remember?
Oh, where do I start?
A nice new bit of hardware we've been waiting for.
New graphics cards?
No. Steam machines and Steam frames.
Oh, I've missed this. Go on.
Oh, no. Okay, so not quite what we need answer yet, but right. Valve put out a blog on Steam announcing the verified program is expanding to Steam Machine and Steam Frame, but also dropped in the same sentence that both would be shipping this summer. However, there is still no pricing. Or exactly date, but this summer. We are in summer now, so sometime in the next couple of months we could see a Steam Machine or a Steam Frame.
I mean, technically speaking, yes, Monday the 1st of June was meteorological summer here in the UK. But yeah, I guess your point, you're right. You know, we are heading to the classic summer months, aren't we, between now and September? So, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, sometime soon we could be picking up, well, I'd like to pick up a Steam Frame, but it really depends on that pricing.
I was going to say, picking up, sometime soon we could be looking longingly at the webpage telling us how much this is going to cost. And
we can't afford it.
Exactly, because at the moment I can't even afford a Steam Deck at the minute, given the price.
Not the current prices, no.
No, well, I don't know where I've been. I missed that announcement, which is really annoying. So, thank you for bringing that up.
There you go.
All right, well, let's talk about things that you might be able to buy soon then. Apple Music could soon get different levels of subscription. So, a leaker by the name of, what's his name? Aaron
Paris?
Who has been looking at the latest beta of Apple Music on Android, has discovered inside the code base in there the references to premium access required and a track skip limit, which kind of tells you that you're going to be paying for different things, aren't you? A bit like Spotify, different tier levels and things like that, isn't it? So
yeah.
Well, this because at the moment Apple Music has one tier, doesn't it? Which is Apple Music, and you pay.
It's just Apple Music, yes.
I mean, was it in the UK $10.99? I think it is, if I remember correctly. Or $10.99, or you get it part of the Apple One subscription. I had heard rumors though that they were exploring a free tier, but it was very, very high level rumor. So this is quite.
I don't know. So it was only a couple of weeks ago. So Apple's music boss, is it Oliver Schuster? He did go on the record basically saying, I think free is a terrible idea. Apple Music is the only service that doesn't have a free tier, and believe it or not, we are really proud of that.
Well, okay, fair point. Fair. I mean,
So is it maybe going to be not free? Is it? I suppose ad supported is still free. Maybe it's a cut down catalog. I don't know.
well, I'd have to say I'm curious as well because Spotify has a free tier, doesn't it? Where
It does, yes.
you can listen to all the songs, but you get adverts in between them, and you can't skip songs.
Can't skip them. Yeah, you can't just. I'm not sure you can select the song you want. It's only playlists. I can't.
That's right.
Yeah. I've not had the free version for a very long time.
See, the other thing, I don't think Apple would go down the route of a free tier which is ad based because that's not Apple, is it? At all. I think you're right. Maybe his view is that instead of having a free tier, there'll be an entry level tier, maybe that comes with some restrictions. I don't know.
You don't get HD audio. Maybe you get standard audio.
Because
restrictions around that, but I can't see Apple giving it away for free.
No, because we know so much that Apple's services business is what drives the revenue engine, of Apple, the Apple business overall. So if there was a cheaper, freer one, a cheaper, not free subscription tier, yeah, I think there would be interest in that. I think a lot of people do like Apple Music, and it would give probably a opportunity for people that want to come across from Spotify but don't want to pay, the full whack of Apple Music. Look, I've never been a real Spotify user myself. Apple Music has been my go-to since it came out.
I have. I'm still tied in.
Yeah,
I tried making the move once, I think, but came across limitations with Apple Music. Can't quite remember what they were, but we've got it embedded in like Sonos and all that kind of stuff, and it was probably one of those bits that stopped me for a while. But I need to relook it because Spotify for a family's got quite pricey now. Is it £22 or £23 a month?
I was thinking though, maybe a free tier, maybe it could be a bit like the Spotify thing, as you say, playlist. Instead of being like select the tracks, you could select genres, or it'll be I don't know, name an artist, and instead of getting it, you get like a virtual radio station with songs based on that artist and other similar artists as well. That would make sense. I can see that working, and you could even have that on the web, couldn't you? As like Apple Music.
Oh yeah,
that would work. I used to do that kind of stuff. What was it? I used to listen to Last FM. I used to use that quite a lot.
Last FM, yes.
In the old days when it was web based and things like that, I used to use it all the time. It was really good. Scrobbling, that was the word, wasn't it? And doing all that kind of stuff. But yeah, look, I'm curious to see where this goes. Clearly, just because the code's in there doesn't mean that they're going to implement it. It could be testing, couldn't it? It could be holdover from other betas. But it certainly makes you wonder, are they thinking about this? And maybe they are. Yeah. So, well,
maybe that's one for not WWDC. Maybe that's one for September's event.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, just on the dub piece, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was listening to another podcast that was talking about how how they're going to manage the things with the iPhone Ultra Fold, whatever you want to call it, and the window sizing and stuff. And of course, they're not going to come out and announce a new device like that at Dub. So they, you thinking about there'll be sessions, won't there? Be like how to get your iOS app to display, like an iPad app. There'll be
to be dynamic.
Yeah, that's it. And it'll have a model identity or whatever, or capabilities. There'll be lots of those sessions. They would say you can imagine that people will be like, I know what this is, but we can't tell you what it is. But
we know you know what it is.
But we're not going to tell you what it is. But thank you very much for asking anyway.
So. Exactly.
All right. So let's turn left a little bit then and talk about Anthropic, who have filed their paperwork to go public. So they have all that's the one with the Securities and Exchange Commission. There isn't a price being set yet. But they have provided some information on where they think it'll be going. Obviously, the analysts in the market space are able to give us a view on where they think Anthropic currently sits at the moment. And it is quite a large valuation, isn't it, at the moment? Close to $1 trillion right now.
Yes, 965 billion. That was after their latest Series H round, which was 65 They closed 65 billion, didn't they, in funding for a Series H?
I mean, that is quite a lot of cash, to be honest with you. And
Yeah.
when you think about Anthropic, they've kind of beaten OpenAI to the punch, haven't they? Here a little bit.
Yes.
We know that OpenAI also wants to go public. That's been mentioned as well.
Yeah, they are already in their filing, aren't they? We'd heard.
But we also got the other big player, the other heavyweight in the IPO ring, stepping up, haven't we, as well, which is the SpaceX AI.
SpaceX, yeah.
IPO, which is due in September. But that one's coming with a few kind of, I don't know, quirks, isn't it, compared to what Anthropic is likely to submit. That one is going, looking to float, or at least Elon would like them to float, isn't it, around
1.5 trillion, isn't it?
$1.5 trillion. And the pricing there has been set by Elon himself, isn't it? Which
it has, but what he views it is, and from what I hear, the market analysts kind of disagree. They're thinking like half that valuation.
I mean, that one, I think, again, is going to be an interesting IPO, and I think it will raise a good amount of money. Will it hit the value? Will it stay or exceed the valuation that Elon is putting on it? I'm not entirely sure, and I think the pressure to go public and the regulatory, they have a lot of regulatory insight already, don't they? Because of the fact that they have SpaceX and what they do. But once you become a fully public company, it's going to be very difficult for them to
hide the numbers.
The space business is doing very well, but I'm talking about the XAI element, which is the
Grok.
The issue. Yeah, exactly, Grok, which is a cash burning machine, isn't it?
Talking of hiding numbers, I'm still trying to get a head round that Anthropic are looking to go public for close to $1 trillion, yet they've only just started talking about positive cash flow.
They have. So they saying Anthropic have made the announcement, haven't they? They said they're going to have the first profitable quarter by the end of this month, which is June, just for clarity. And as you say, that they reckon, according to Anthropic themselves, they're going to post a revenue. Well, the initial guidelines are that they'll post a revenue of just over $10 billion, which you say is they're going to be profitable, which is great, because this is the issue that OpenAI can't seem to get their head around, is that they cannot seem to make profitability, and the OpenAI don't think they're going to be reaching any profitability or full profitability until at least 29 or 30. So it's quite a gap coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, just the mind boggles that a company can be valued at that and not really actually make a profit.
No, and you're right. When you look at other organisations of a similar size, the revenue generation is much more complex and different, isn't it? But that, on the other hand, Anthropic seems to have kind of floated to the top, don't they? To pardon the pun, within the AI, the AI space right now. They've got a really good market space. The whole piece around the US defense argument, and a bit how they didn't want to remove safeguards, and they got all that issue, didn't they, around the supply chain risk because of they basically that. But that doesn't seem to have stopped them, and we know with Project Glasswing, where they've brought together all of these companies now, which they've now expanded as well. You may have seen that to they've expanded Project Glasswing now beyond the initial set of partners to include now critical national infrastructure, utility companies, all other things as well, to be involved in that. And they're looking to provide access to the Mythos preview model or a variation of that for public use as well. So I think they're really carving out a niche beyond traditional generative AI into security aspects and the defense. They can get back on that bus. OpenAI, I think, is treading a different path, and they are trying to be seen as a research capability engine, because they've just released their new model Rosalind, which is available to specific institutions, research places, universities on request, and that is a design for research and all the capabilities that go around that. But also, OpenAI is embedding ads. I think we talked about this the other week, didn't we?
The ads
into their capability. And if you look at their job listings, there's loads of job postings for ads.
So the ads, is that just for their free tier, or are those going to be shoving ads down paid tiers as well?
I think it's down paid tiers as well. And I think the
Well,
way they'll do
yeah,
it, it'll be
no.
curated, as they say, isn't it? So I think the example I gave when I talked about the because I'm building a shed, so you
Yeah.
start, put it, and then it comes up and it surfaces. You can buy, oh great, there's these materials you can buy from the local, home improvement place, I don't know.
Yeah.
So in the US, like a Lowe's, or in the UK, like a B&Q or whatever. And it's, it kind of shows you those curated, targeted, rather than,
I'm now envisioning that I'm going to need an ad blocker for my AI agent.
Funny you should say that. Yes, I think that might be where that ends up. So
Especially if you're paying for the product.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. So if you're paying for the product and the ads are coming in, you want it to be almost unintrusive, but almost to be seen as not an ad, but as like a suggestion, isn't it? Really, rather than an ad.
I don't want to see the ads. Unless I say, go and find me some sheds. Where can I buy them? I don't want to see any ads.
No. Then that's different because it comes back and tells you can buy sheds at X, Y, and Z,
Exactly.
and these places. Interestingly, though, this last week I've been using Codex quite heavily. So I've been using Codex with the kind of the basic tier and all that kind of stuff. And I have to say I'm quite impressed with it. I was also quite impressed that when I fired it up and it knew that I'd been using Claude Code, and was like, "Oh, I found all these projects. Would you like me to use them?" Whoa, back off! It's like,
Whoa! Who said you could go rifling through my hard drive?
Yeah, basically, it was like, I don't want you fiddling with those code bases. So yeah, but it was very clever how it did it, and it was almost like I can take over and build this with you, or all these kinds of things. And it's very similar to talking to Claude Code. Very similar capability. The IDE, the developer environment in it is quite interesting as well. What I found was quite cool is you can start side conversations whilst you're programming. So you could have a side conversation with it about what you're doing, which was really weird. I was like, this is kind of odd. And then I got it to insert things from the side conversation back into the main development channel, which was...
that's quite handy. Because I've been using Claude, and I had a private GitHub repo. So I was using Claude Code even. But going to a chat, and I wanted to ask you about the project. The chat part couldn't access the code part.
No.
But it couldn't go to the GitHub repo because it wasn't public. And you were like, all right, so I just had to put Claude Code in plan mode and chat to it that way. But it would be more intuitive just to be able to do it from the chat.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. You kind of want to come out of the coding environment, don't you, to have a conversation, talk through the problem, maybe.
Yeah, and that was it. I was looking at making a big change to something. I wanted to talk through the pros and cons, and if I did this, what would happen if I blah blah blah. But yeah, it was fine. I did it in code. It was just a bit of an odd way of doing it.
And that's to say, that's one of the things I really enjoy doing with Claude is talking through the problem. And I've done that a couple of times this week with a couple of situations and things I'm working on projects. And I really do think now, and I've been using Opus 4.8, which is burnt through tokens at a ridiculous rate, so we won't go there. But I really do find that it's become a lot more nuanced, and it doesn't just make wild assumptions anymore. And the memory aspect of Claude has got a lot better as well. It's not perfect. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's amazing, but it's certainly more. It surfaces things that we talked about, like, I don't know, 6 months ago, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, and I was talking about one project, and I think I said this to you before, and it was like telling me, it was like, look, I'm not saying you can't do this, but you've been working on all these other projects. Do you think you've got bandwidth? I was like, whoa!
You need to sit down and calm. Less work.
I was a bit like, okay, didn't expect that, but thank you for but yeah, look, and this is the kind of things we're getting. OpenAI, Anthropic, and Minstrel, and all the other companies here. I know we've talked about the AI bubble. I don't think they're going anywhere. I genuinely don't think they're going anywhere. And AI has become so built into our workflows and our daily lives. It's going to become very difficult to unpick that. And I have to say, I thoroughly enjoy this. And I know you and I were at a work event with a colleague of ours who were talking about technology where we were all a bit long in the tooth in the technology space. And I remember him saying to us both, it was the first time that for a long time that he was kind of excited about technology. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I have to agree on that. I am excited again about this. I'm doing things and I'm playing with it and I'm learning and I'm building stuff, which I wanted to do before, but I just didn't know how to do it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I really like it, and it does absolutely help my daily workflow. It's look, I've still got loads of work, I've still got loads of notes floating around my desk, even though I've built a note taking system. um, but it helps with my writing, it helps me process things, it helps me get a much clearer messaging. When I want to send something, I do a lot of dictation. I use a really good app on the Mac called Para Speech, which uses a local model, and I dictate to things now, and it listens and it cleans up, and it's learned how I speak, and it means now when I think of an idea, I can just talk it rather than trying to type it and losing that flow.
Yeah.
And that works really well. Again, a small AI app just on my Mac does a really good job to help me in my everyday. So look, AI is not going away. I know a bit of a deep ramble there, but I'm interested to see what the price comes out at. And whilst, again, as I always stress, we do not give financial information on or suggestions on this show, I personally would be interested in seeing where the Anthropic uh, IPO lands and where that goes from. But there you go.
Indeed. Right.
Oh,
Next story. Wow. Okay. So we have talked about this many times and we've waited a long time, but finally, a Computex 2026 in Taipei. Jensen Hung, he got on stage and he finally made it official. Nvidia is now in the Windows PC building game, or chip maker, I should say. They have released the RTX Spark, which, to all intents and purposes, is the same as the Spark AI system they built, the desktop one. Just repackaged, tweaked for laptop or desktop use, or for more consumer-orientated use, I suppose. And it does look like a pretty beefy chip, doesn't it?
it does, yeah.
I think we've got 20 ARM cores, haven't we? Or Grace cores, co-developed with MediaTek. It's got a Blackwell GPU with 6,144 CUDA cores, so the equivalent to an RTX 5070 laptop GPU. And you can have, again, 120 up to 120 gig of unified memory. It will do a petaflop of AI performance. Of course, TSMC are making it again on 3 nanometer. Surprise! Probably not in America. And it's quite frugal. I mean, it will take up to 80 watts in like laptop mode. And that's at full blast. Or it can peak to 100 watts in a desktop mode. So as I said, it's basically the GB10 stuff from the Spark Mini, wasn't it? DGX Spark Mini, that's what it was called.
I think that's quite an impressive spec list there, given the power consumption. And I mean, obviously, proof will be in the pudding, as they say, in actual real development. But this could be the pivotal moment where the old architecture starts to look dated.
He did make me laugh though. He did say on stage, the first completely re-engineered, reinvented line of PCs that's happened in 40 years. Completely forgetting about the M1 range of chips from Apple. I mean, if you were to say Windows PCs, then I still don't think it works, because hasn't Qualcomm bought out ARM chips as well before Nvidia did?
They have, yes, they have.
So I don't think any of this really holds true.
No, look. I think it's going to be an impressive piece of silicon.
Yeah.
Especially with up to 128 gig of memory, the unified architecture, we know from Apple's M series that gives fantastic efficiency and performance gains as well in that piece. The only interesting part again here is it's Windows architecture, Windows software architecture across a multiple set of players. So again, you're going to get variations on a theme. And this whole thing around the agentic piece, isn't it? The AI agents being the interface.
Yeah, the joint open shell framework.
Yeah,
they're going to be doing.
Look, really, I don't think. I mean, there's probably a small set of users who actually would quite happily just talk to an AI all day. Let's be honest. The same people that probably live on their phones could do that.
Isn't this what you do all day?
Well, I haven't given it a name. Maybe I'll just call it. I mean, Claude is nice. I mean, but I should call it something else. But what I mean though is there's a difference between agentic interface and dictating content or prompts, isn't there? What I mean is,
Yeah.
But your point, yeah, doesn't take into account Apple, and Apple is I would argue Apple is probably what 2 generations ahead of current Windows based performance. I would imagine.
Again, I think that really depends on what you're doing, but yeah, certainly when it comes to a laptop and power usage to get that.
Okay, I'll rephrase that then.
Sure.
Not full desktop spec.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. I'd even argue. Actually, maybe I'd argue yes. I would argue for majority of users, unless you are very heavily dependent on multiple core CPU.
I was about to say gaming, but Apple do gaming now.
Yeah, but if you look at if you look at coding's there, but if you look at film, audio editing, yeah, there's but the old adage comes back, which is Apple own the ecosystem, don't they? So it's not that it's not a apple for oranges for oranges sort of thing, which terrible pun again.
But speaking of that though, Microsoft did announce their Surface Laptop Ultra, didn't they?
They did, which is looking also quite impressive.
Along with Dell, HP, Lenovo, Asus, and many others. But their Surface Laptop Ultra does look very, very nice. It's got obviously the RTX Spark. It's got a 2000 nit mini LED display. Built as the most powerful Windows on ARM device ever built. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's still Windows. So if you're on ARM, you're still going to be... You'll have the ARM version of Windows. But it means any x86 software you're running is going to need to run through a translation layer. I can't remember what Windows call theirs now. No, it's gone. Can't remember what they call it.
I know the one you're on about, but
But yeah, it'll be a translation like Rosetta was for Mac.
Is it
but obviously,
Prism? Is it Prism?
Prism. Yeah, something like that, isn't it? Prism.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really, really nice. And after the event, they did also announce Surface RTX Spark Dev Box. So they're doing their own desktop version of this. So Mac Mini kind of style mini PC. Obviously, it'll be using that 100 watt thermal envelope, and again up to 120 gig of RAM, that kind of stuff. So one thing they did not announce though was the pricing. Surprise, surprise.
You know the rules here. If we tell you the price, you're not going to buy it.
Yeah. Obviously, look, the DGX Sparks, they start at 3,000 or 4,000, don't they? So I don't think it's going to be that costly, but it could, at least sound like they're up against MacBook Pros. So we could be looking at $2,000 or $2,500 starting price.
Look, I think the reality of this comes down to not the hardware, because the hardware clearly is solid, and I'm sure will perform very well. I have no doubt about that. Comparing it like for like to an Apple is not fair, because the software is the issue, and this is the bottom line, isn't it? 100% it's the software, and I think unless the software part catches up, then where do you leave it? Because you're never going to have a true comparison, then, are you? Really?
Well, no, you can't. Windows is, unlike Mac, all about backwards compatibility. It always has been. So you can't move all the way over to ARM. It's always going to have to be a translation layer. Now, look, I suspect that's going to get better and better. But it's still going to be there and may add a delay, whether that's perceptible. By throwing enough horsepower at it, it might not be perceptible at all. I don't know. And again, that might be app to app. Depending on the apps you're using, you might have a different experience.
I mean, if you look, do you remember when the first Qualcomm Windows PCs came out a couple of years ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
And we said back then, these are great looking devices. They look really, really interesting, but you just know it's just not going to have the grunt to perform as well as it could do, because it's going to be let down by the software architecture and particularly around any emulation or anything like that, isn't it? So right. Until that becomes native, like Apple does, it's. Yeah. But look, I'm interested for this, and I'm curious. I'm really curious to see what the benchmarks come out with these new Nvidia Spark chips come out with. So look, all for competition,
And I suspect, with Nvidia weighing in, backed by Ultra, will get the majority of the big apps all running ARM native.
And I think that's what it takes, though, isn't it? Sometimes it takes a pivotal moment or a kind of a stop in the market, say, look, we're going to get involved with this now, and we're going all the way behind it. And I think you're right. For Nvidia to weigh in will probably, and given they're they're the £500 gorilla in the room a little bit, aren't they? That support to the ARM PC market could be the thing we've been waiting for, because up to this point it's been just coasting along, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. So I'm very interested how it goes. Price may be the blocker on that one, but we'll see.
We will see indeed. But yes, not going to be cheap. All right.
Well, so talking of cheap chips, though.
Well, keep it on that theme. Yes. Go on then. AMD.
Yeah. So they have basically pledged support now that the AM5 socket will see it through to at least 2029. AMD originally promised, was it 2025 plus, then bumped to 2027 plus, and now it's 2029 plus. So that will be at least a 7-year lifespan on a socket. Intel, take note, because you barely get, I don't know, a year from an Intel socket before they change their mind. So I think that means we will see at least Zen 6 and 7 on the AM5 platform. But they've also announced a new chip for AM4, didn't they? So AM4 is still going. When did AM4 come out?
Oh, it's been
2016. 2016.
10 years, because they've got the anniversary.
So 10-year anniversary edition. They've released a new 5800X3D. Well, it's a current chip, but they made an anniversary edition of it. I wasn't actually sure if anything's actually different other than the packaging.
No, I was thinking that.
Or the fact that they're redoing it and it's available again.
Yeah, I mean, publishing that, gosh, it's just. I mean, the fact that it's gone for 10 years is impressive. But again, sentiment to AMD's capabilities here, and compared to Intel, they do support. They do support their chips for a long time.
Your PC's not that old, but I don't think you can buy a CPU for your socket anymore, can you?
I don't. Not new. No, it would be old.
You'd have to go second hand.
Yeah.
But also, I have a friend who plays, so he's running. I think he's got AM4. He could go and pick himself up a new CPU chip.
Not bad. I mean, you've always said to me how good AMD is, and I've never really taken the plunge. But given that, you certainly have got the opportunity to.
It just means if you want to upgrade your RAM or your CPU, you don't have to go and buy a whole new motherboard. Or you know what, if you want to buy a new motherboard because you want, I don't know, a PCI Express Gen 5 or whatever for your latest GPU, you can still keep your CPU and RAM probably.
Yeah, it's crazy, really, is it? But hey, look. AMD, I mean, that's one thing about them. They do bring out new iterations and new generational changes, but they do a bit of an Apple, don't they, where they just keep on ensuring that it keeps working. They keep providing, support for the motherboards and chipsets. So yeah, fantastic, great work. And I guess, like I say, if you're in the AMD camp, at least you've got options still. If you don't want to spend big bucks.
Indeed.
All right then, that's probably good for us to swing over to. All right, so I know this is your phone. I know you're interested in getting it.
I've placed the order if they let me.
But there's been some, I guess, I don't want to say leaks, but some more rumors around the vapor chamber, isn't it? And the iPhone Ultra, Fold, whatever we're going to call it, is heading into mass production for a September launch, which is music to your ears, I no doubt.
Yeah. So that was it. So we've had our Weibo leaker again. Is it Fixed Focus Digital? And he's done a few before, or she, or they. But he has kind of let it slip, or told us that basically we potentially now going to get a vapor chamber cooling on the Ultra, and that's something I didn't think we were going to get. It came out on the 17s, didn't it? 17 Pros, I should say. And it was rumored that it wouldn't be in the Ultra because of too slim a form factor. But he's saying it's going to be in there now.
Yes, these vapor chambers are quite an engineering marvel, aren't they? And they've been very successful in the 17 range. I mean, I don't know about you, but my 16 Pro gets hot very quickly. Very quickly.
It does, yeah. If I take it off, most of the day mine sits on a wireless charger on my desk. I've got a stand there, and it sits in what's it called? Gallery mode, portrait mode. I can't remember what you call it now. where it has the dashboard on it. It sits there.
I
And
know,
when I take it off,
the landscape mode, isn't it? You know, when you
when I take it off the charger at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, that's toasty.
yeah. And I was using mine the other week, the weekend when it was a hot day, and I was taking pictures of things in there, and the phone overheated. It was like, can't take any more photos until it cools down. I was like, what? And I also said when it updates, I mean, it's always had a problem with Apple. When you do updates, it gets hot as well because
it gets toasty, doesn't it?
But I've noticed this particular device does get hot really quickly. So I'm quite interested to experience the vapor chamber and what difference that has to the device. And given that your device would be, in theory, a bit of a thicker device, isn't it, in your pocket?
Well, thicker folded, but not unfolded. Yeah. I think if you can get the vapor chamber in there and it works, great, because I think we'll get a bit more oomph out of the processor before it has to cool itself down. But he did also say more about the release timing, because there has been to's and fro's with German and everyone else about, will it actually be September? Won't it be September? They are saying, yep, it's on planned launch for September still. So another one in favour of September. I mean, I hope it does. I'd like to buy one in September.
The thing is, though, are they going to release this in place of the Air, or will there be a lineup of iPhone, Max, Pro, whatever you want to call it, Ultra, iPhone?
So you have the two Pros, the Pro and the Pro Max. You have the normal standard phone, and then you've got the Air and the Ultra. The Air kind of replaced the iPhone Plus, didn't it?
Yeah.
In the lineup. Will we get an Air too?
But that's a lot of devices then, isn't it, all of a sudden? And I think...
Yeah, I mean, I've not really heard anything about an Air 2, have we?
No. There was rumours that they had canned it, but I wonder whether or not was the Air testing some of the technologies for the Fold.
Oh yeah, but also you have to remember we've also got the SE still, haven't we? So the SEs and the non-pros are now January, February.
Yeah, well, the SE
split the launch windows.
Yeah, the SE's always been a spring launch, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So, but you're right. There's the rumor was, wasn't it, that they would push out the standard device, the basic device, to the same launch window as well.
Exactly. So in September, would we then just see an Air 2, the Pros, and an Ultra, or just the Pros and an Ultra?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm interested to see where this goes as well. But yeah, if it comes out in September, it will certainly be a flagship device launch, given the form factor and obviously Apple moving into that space and the technology around the screen, which again is going to be groundbreaking from an Apple perspective, at least anyway, isn't it?
Yes.
So the other device then that we could see potentially either this year or next is this MacBook Ultra, is it? Which will be the top of the lineup for the MacBook lineup. There isn't really much details at the moment beyond what is going to be a brand new design, a full OLED display, isn't it, as well, and a slightly different screen size, which is up for debate at the minute. So currently 14.2 and 16.2 inch screen sizes respectively, but the report has come out that has said 14.3 and 16.3. So either is that like a number issue, or is it like more of a kind of edge-to-edge design, I wonder?
I suspect they're going to push it more edge to edge, aren't they?
Yeah.
Will they want to increase the size of the chassis again?
Well, no. These details have come out via Omdia, which is a research firm who have put out the growing adoption of OLEDs, isn't it, in laptops?
Yeah.
And they've mentioned in here MacBook Ultra or MacBook Pro, depending on the branding, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so in the report it talks about Samsung and saying they'll provide displays for the two new MacBook.
Yep, the twin OLED or whatever they call it, hybrid tandem OLED. That's the one.
Yeah, they then go on to suggest that there'll be a Q3 2026 launch, so that puts us in September, doesn't it? Around that time.
Well, yeah, September's the last part of Q3, isn't it? Yes, yeah. I mean, we see that at the September event. That's historically been a phone event, hasn't it?
Well, yes, but then we've seen it before where we've had Mac events afterwards, haven't we? A couple of weeks later in October.
Mind you, this will be. I've just completely forgotten his name. The new boss. It'll be his first September event. Yeah. Yes, so maybe he wants to go big.
Well, it's a 3-hour keynote, and we're going to bring all the products to the table.
So get your popcorn. Yep, we're throwing everything away and bringing it all a new kit back.
Hide your credit card. This is going to hurt.
Exactly. This is another Ultra. So we've got what, the Surface Ultras now, the MacBook Ultras, the iPhone Ultras. There's like an Ultra arms race going on here.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to look at it. You know, all the ultras, all the money, we can't afford any of it. But I have to say this. No, I will be getting this. Will be a new phone for me this year, so I'm looking forward.
New
to
phone year for you. Same for here.
Yeah. So it would be good. Good. All right. Well, that's probably a good place for us to wrap up for today. We'll be back next week for episode 251. All the celebrations will have finished by then. You know, we'll have had all the. Was it not bicentennial? What's the there's a name for 250. I can't think what it is. Anyway, where you can get all of our show notes at techrant.online. Wherever you get your podcast from, you can tell your friends to get them from there too. We're also on YouTube. And with that, I've been Jay.
I've been Karl. Have a good one all.